Hey guys, Andrew, welcome back to the channel. So guys, let me preface this by saying I have a great housing team, great community access team, and I know how lucky I am and privileged to have access to the NDIS care schemes in Australia. But guys, this has been a bugbear for ages now. Particularly with support workers who are coming into the industry, haven't been in it long term, still doing their training, X, Y, Z, and particularly those of you who are a little bit older who it's a second career. Guys, especially doing the morning and the breakfast shifts, volume matters. And then you wonder why clients are cranky for the day. Do you want to be woken up by loud footsteps, people yelling across the room, or do you want to be woken up by your alarm clock, quiet footsteps, and maybe some room level volume? Now, I need to preface this by we have only recently being in the last 2 years, have learnt through the ADHD, I actually have hypersensitive hearing and I have hypersensitivities. I do have noise cancelling headphones. I've actually got 2 pairs. So guys, you're not dreaming if you've seen me use a green pair and my black pair. So I've always got one on charge. But the other thing is I'm a higher functioning client. I'm given a lot more license. That is both a good and a bad thing around support. When I moved into the house, they knew about the YouTube, they knew about the blog, they knew that I was starting the podcast and things like that. So they would give me basic heads up without breaching anyone's privacy of who was going to be what and where. But now we have a new system in the house where we have a main support worker. This main support worker is absolutely brilliant, but is still learning the role of main support worker. Because there's 2 houses next to each other, when she's rostered onto one house but there's an issue in the other, it'll look like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be one-on-one with this person, but I'll just take the 5 minutes to sort out this issue. If you're bringing a person over with behaviours of concern over early, and that's going to impact me because I'm already cranky, I haven't slept well, overtired, got woken up, and then you're wondering why I'm getting cranky at things, not at the person, but at things. Guys, you need to step back and remember you're dealing with humans. You're dealing with humans. Humans have emotions. We may not have been taught how to handle big emotions. We may not have been taught how to channel negative emotions. We may not have been taught that we need to mask and be happy all the time. This is unrealistic. So, guys, this is something that I want to broaden into a wider conversation around toxic positivity. So, toxic positivity, we all know, is being positive all the time, denying that you're in chronic pain, that you're cranky, that you're tired, that you need time out, all of those things. Where being realistic, having gratitude for the things that you can do, whether that be cooking, whether that be cleaning, going to work, going to a day centre, focusing on study, YouTube, that might be playing games online, that might be streaming on Twitch, that might be talking to people on Discord. This is the other thing, is that in the disability community, there seems to be a lot of comparison of, I must have this because this person online said about these symptoms. But we're in a parasocial relationship with that person. They've chosen to share that on camera. They may have chosen or felt that other symptoms aren't relevant. I know you can join the Patreon and they can tell the full story, because often there's reasons why they can't talk about the full story. It might be length, it might be time. And guys, I'm going to have to push the Patreon and subscribing a lot more this year as well. But guys, you gotta remember, we can't be positive all the time. And as a support worker, guys, this is the thing, you have to be mindful. It's a job and you're working with people. And working with vulnerable people, yes, you can slip into the mindset of so-and-so's higher functioning, they won't mind. I genuinely don't mind. I understand that support workers are people, they're going to get frustrated and stuff like that. But by raising that volume, you're not going to resolve anything. I actually saw a educator who goes the opposite effect and it really gets people's attention. She goes really, really quiet. She just waits, puts a timer on, goes really quiet. People expect her to yell, get mad, but she goes quiet. And she said, well, okay, that's this time that you've wasted. You're going to stay back or you don't have time for the fun stuff. So that's a tip really well. And being able to communicate, and I've talked about this over on the TikTok, but I want to talk about it a lot more in length here, is having your own emotions under control. Because a client's behavior may not be about you. It might be part of their disability. It might be pain. It might be part of their mental illness if they have the combo of mental illness, disability, and health conditions as well. So those chronic complex needs where they are going to need 24/7 care. And this is the thing where it gets tricky of privacy and care. But I've recently learnt care will always trump that right to privacy. But I know in my organisation they've always said that you can say, hey, I need a rest, I need some non-contact time, just give me 20 minutes. They've said you can have the emotions, but you just can't take them out on people. And so finding healthy ways to channel them is a really great way. So that might be rage cleaning, that might be meditation, because we can't acknowledge what we don't feel. And so many people only see what they want to see, especially if someone's having a meltdown in public. Autistic and ADHD and sensory meltdowns are very different to a tantrum. And I do know in my local disability Facebook group, someone was asking for a, excuse me guys, a vest to put on a person who is a runner. And they put a little bit of context. They said, I can't say much for this person's privacy, but they were going on holidays. They were going to somewhere where this person wouldn't be familiar. To keep this person safe, they needed essentially a vest that you can hook a harness to. Guys, people who did not know the full story, who are disability advocates, were attacking this person, saying it's a restricted practice, that's unapproved, put them in a wheelchair. What? So you're going to strap them in so they can't even walk independently? So you have full control over them? The belts, the lift belts and the vests are designed to be, at their core, things to keep you safe. So a lift belt is literally what it sounds like, a belt that has handles, that has weights on it, so a person can catch a person if they're about to have a seizure, if they're about to tick and their feet are about to go under them, or if they're a fall risk, but are not at the stage of needing a walker or other mobility aid as well. Then a vest, you might have seen them on TikTok, the weighted vests or the vests that people are saying that they've got a leash. Okay, I can understand people who don't have the education around restrictive practice, positive behaviour support, and lower functioning autism, lower functioning general intellectual disabilities, wouldn't understand the need for these devices. But would you want to be responsible for someone hitting this person a pedestrian, a motorist, a cyclist hitting this person? Or do you want to have something that you can pick up, have a meter or two between you and the person, but be able to pull this person back? It's no different to having a child who is a runner with one of the backpack leashes as well. And people who are criticizing this, I understand where you're coming from, but this is where I would invite you to the table to listen to disability advocates, to listen to the people who are talking about the current narrative. So, why we need restrictive practices, why they're in place, listening to that person's full story of why that they need that piece of equipment. And I do know for Americans and other people who don't have universal care programs, that don't have access to taxpayer funded programs or charity funded programs for assistive tech, it can be an issue. And so, guys, I know people would be planning next Christmas, planning birthdays, Mother's Day. If you've got a disabled person in your life and you're looking at getting them an assistive tech, please talk to them about it beforehand. You're going to say, oh, that ruins the surprise or whatever. A lot of assistive tech needs to be custom made for that person or is not suitable for that person's needs as well. So, guys, these are some things that going into the new year, I will be doing more vlogging style content as well. So we're just getting that all organized as well. And then there's another thing that I want to touch on, particularly for support workers and care staff, is around volume and again, information sharing. Information sharing and information gathering is very different to malicious gossip. So, gossip is information sharing is when a person gets home from the day centre and you're having lunch or afternoon tea. It's who was at the day centre, what activities were on offer, who was sick, what support workers are on, publicly known information. But if a person's pregnant, if a person's sick, if a person's on mental health leave, if a person's looking for a new job and has asked you to be a personal referee, all, if you're disclosing that, all malicious gossip. But if a support worker is asking you that you know the information for redirecting a housemate to other activities, stretching that person out, asking for backup, that's information sharing and role modeling great behavior. It's almost stepping into the role of peer support. You're looking out for all people by wording up that the person that so and so might be over, the next support worker who's coming on, medications, that information sharing and gathering, and letting a client step up to the plate by sharing their knowledge, sharing their expertise, sharing where you can get resources as well. Also, guys, I've got a Toowoomba-based one of community-based resources. Guys, be grateful if you drop it in the comments section or the email me about resources that you've got in your area as well. So, guys, this is not meant to be an attack in any way, but support workers, and especially ones that are coming in from other careers where you haven't had your authority questioned, where procedures are followed without question, and then because it can be confronting when you have a client questioning why they're not allowed to have another agency in the house, but that client's allowed to have another agency in the house. One rule for me, one rule for thee. Well, there might be different reasons for it. There might be culturally appropriate reasons. There might be safety reasons. It might be that that person, as a support worker, is related to the person. So you, as a client, you don't know the full story and you shouldn't expect to know the full story. But if a client's curious, you need to have an elevator pitch to why that's happening and expect some level of pushback. And so this is why it is critically important to have your emotions under control and be able to de-escalate. So guys, the next video I'm actually going to record is what is de-escalation, how does it work, and where you can grab the training and find the training, because one of the biggest things with de-escalation is being able to keep calm and regulate your own emotions and recognizing that when you're working with a person with difficult and challenging behaviors, that behavior is a form of communication, but separating the behavior from the person and realizing that behaviors have served them in some way is challenging. So guys, again, I've got the Patreon where we're really working on having a community talking about disability from an international perspective as well. Guys, I'm really going to have to ask you, I know it's annoying, but to subscribe. Come on, 80% of you guys are unsubscribed. If you can share as well, that helps the algorithm to see me as well. So guys, as I said, it's not meant to be an attack on support workers. I have worked on the other side. I've been a peer support person. So I do get that it's difficult, it's challenging, there's a lot of unpaid overtime, a lot of documentation, you're using your own phone, you're using your own car. But guys, it is very, very rewarding at the same time. So again, if you can like, share, subscribe, comment, and my 2 rules for comments is if it's a question or a comment, feel free. But guys, behave like you would in real life. If you're not going to say it to my face in reality, please think about what you're putting in the comment section as well.